Meryl freaking Streep. You were bound to hear me talk about her on this channel eventually, one of my all-time favorites, currently holding the record of most Oscar nominations in acting at a whopping 21. Streep truly is one of a kind. But despite all the nominations and accolades throughout the decades, it's hard to believe just how many Academy Awards Meryl Streep has actually lost. She has had to stay put in that seat 18 times throughout the last 45 years as she listened to someone else's name be called on Oscar night. It happened the first time she was nominated in 1979 for her performance in The Deer Hunter. It happened over and over again throughout the 1980s. It happened every single time in the 1990s and in the 2000s. And it's happened the last 4 times too. Streep watching so many talented women stride onto the stage as she applauds right along with everyone else. The 3 times Streep actually won, her chances were extremely good going into Oscar night. She was the clear frontrunner the year she won Best Supporting Actress for Kramer vs. Kramer, and I'm not sure any of the other 4 nominees were holding their breath the night Streep won Best Actress for Sophie's Choice. The 3rd time she won, almost 30 years after that, there was definitely a lot of suspense, as Viola Davis had won the SAG Award just a few weeks earlier for The Help. But down to the wire, Streep ultimately managed a victory for her performance in The Iron Lady. Today we're talking about the race where I believe Streep came the closest to winning an Oscar that she ultimately didn't. She might have had a shot, I would argue, the year she was nominated for The Deer Hunter, Out of Africa, and The Bridges of Madison County, but the year she could have been victorious, giving her to date 4 Academy Awards instead of only 3, was 2003, in the supporting actress race, when she was nominated for her performance in the Spike Jonze, Charlie Kaufman masterpiece, Adaptation. It had been a long 20 years since her previous win for Sophie's Choice, with 8 losses in between, and in an award season that also brought us her incredible performance in The Hours, which, like Adaptation, was released at the end of 2002, it appeared like Streep could finally net her 3rd Oscar. There was really only one person who could stop her, Catherine Zeta-Jones, who gave her career best performance in Rob Marshall's dazzling musical adaptation of Chicago, also starring Renee Zellweger, who had a great shot that season at winning Best Actress, and Richard Gere, who came the closest in his long career to his first Academy Award nomination. The films released at the end of 2002 marked an abundance of riches. There was so much to choose from, and the Academy had to get behind one of these great movies. They chose, as expected, the universally beloved Chicago, which in the top categories won Best Picture and Best Supporting Actress for Catherine Zeta-Jones, even though she didn't win the Golden Globe Award, Meryl Streep did for Adaptation. So how did Catherine Zeta-Jones take the Oscar prize? And how close really did Meryl Streep come to winning? In this video, I'm going to talk about the 2003 Oscar race for Best Supporting Actress and discuss the main reasons why Zeta-Jones defeated Streep for the award. In the coming weeks, I'm going to make one more video about this Oscar ceremony when I dive into the Best Actor race that was truly all over the place that award season, Adrien Brody ultimately taking the prize in a shocking win we've rarely seen in the actor category these last 20 years. In that video, I'll talk more about the ceremony itself and some of the other big category wins, but I did want right now to bring up the Best Actress race, which came down to Renee Zellweger for Chicago and Nicole Kidman for The Hours. Izzy at Be Kind Rewind has already discussed this race in great detail, so I'll just briefly discuss one thing. It was a genuine nail-biter. At the Golden Globes, Kidman won Best Actress in a Drama, and Zellweger won Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy. At the Critics' Choice Awards, Kidman lost to Julianne Moore for Far From Heaven, and shockingly, Zellweger wasn't even nominated there. At SAG, Zellweger won Female Actor in a Leading Role, beating Kidman, and at BAFTA, Kidman won Best Actress, beating Zellweger. With Chicago winning Best Picture at the Academy Awards, Zellweger likely came really close, especially having been nominated for an Oscar for Bridget Jones's Diary. The previous year's Best Actor winner Denzel Washington announcing Kidman as that year's Oscar winner for Best Actress by saying this,
"By a nose, Nicole Kidman,"
was perfect, because she truly did win by a nose. Her performance in The Hours much shorter in running time than Zellweger's, her movie The Hours not winning picture, unlike Zellweger's, which did. But Kidman's Oscar-nominated performance the previous year for Moulin Rouge, I would argue, had a little more love, more of a chance to actually win, and it's always a good idea to portray a real-life person if you want to win an Academy Award. Kidman portraying Virginia Woolf beautifully in The Hours. Both Kidman and Zellweger had both won 2 major precursor awards leading up to Oscar night, the double-nominated Julianne Moore also in the conversation since she won at Critics' Choice, but ultimately Kidman took the top prize, a great win for her, but an unfortunate loss for Zellweger, something the Academy would make up to her just 1 year later in the Best Supporting Actress category. But before we start to think about the Supporting Actress race of 2004, let's dive into the Supporting Actress race of 2003. First, let's take a look at the nominees. The only nominee in this category I would argue had no chance in winning was Queen Latifah, nominated, like Catherine Zeta-Jones, for Chicago. As matron Mama Morton, Latifah absolutely steals every scene she's in, with an incredible number that brings down the house. She's a fantastic singer and an electric performer, one who was boosted by the immense adoration that season for the film itself.
So if there's something that upsets you or makes you unhappy in any way, don't shoot your fat ass mouth off to me, because I don't give a shit. Now move it out.
Sadly, Latifah's film work up to that point hadn't been acknowledged very much. Her performance in the terrific 1996 drama Set It Off, probably the most critically appreciated, but her nomination for Chicago was a fine one, and I think it could have been taken more seriously if Zeta-Jones hadn't also been in her category. Next up is Julianne Moore, who managed the rare feat of double nominations in a single year, nominated in the lead actress category for Far From Heaven and the supporting actress category for The Hours.
I know.
Nothing serious, he said, just a checkup.
I'm terrified.
Scarlett Johansson was double nominated just recently in 2020 for Jojo Rabbit and Marriage Story, and Holly Hunter and Emma Thompson both did it in the 1990s. Moore getting in for 2 acclaimed end-of-the-year movies after having Oscar losses in 1998 for Boogie Nights and 2000 for The End of the Affair meant she couldn't have been counted out in 2003 as a surprise winner in either of these categories. I would argue the one she had a better chance in winning was lead actress for Far From Heaven, since she won the Critics' Choice Award for that performance, and since the final winner was such a toss-up between Zellweger and Kidman that it's possible Moore could have squeaked out an Adrian Brody-like surprise victory. I believe in this case getting nominated for both performances might have actually brought some confusion to Academy voters, essentially canceling herself out. I think in a perfect world, Moore should have only been recognized for Far From Heaven, and her supporting actor slot should have gone to the great Toni Collette for my favorite film of 2002, About a Boy, a performance that netted her a BAFTA nomination. The third nominee to talk about is Kathy Bates for her bravura comedic performance in the wonderful film About Schmidt, directed by Alexander Payne and starring Jack Nicholson. As Roberta, the mother of the man Schmidt's daughter is about to marry, Bates slays this part. So funny, so free, the kind of great supporting performance that is actually a supporting performance this category was created to recognize.
Oh, and we don't give traditional gifts at Christmas. We make them. We're a very creative family. It can be a painting, or a poem, or a song. I mean, whatever inspires you.
The tub scene with Nicholson is the one everyone was talking about at the time.
It's a big year for Jack. He also got in a hot tub with Kathy Bates. But hey, who hasn't?
But I adore her in every scene, her character bringing great energy to the narrative throughout the second half. Since her well-deserved Oscar win for Misery in 1991, Bates has been nominated 3 more times, for Primary Colors in 1999, About Schmidt in 2003, and most recently Richard Jewell in 2020. I think she had her best shot at a second Oscar win for her performance in About Schmidt. Hell, when Sean Connery announced the winner as Catherine, reportedly Bates thought for a split second that he had called her name. If Zeta-Jones had been nominated in the lead actress category, like she was at the Golden Globes, and Bates' only main competition had been Streep, I think Bates could have maybe taken this. But given her previous Oscar win for Misery, as well as her movie About Schmidt not making it into picture or director, she was forced to stay in her seat. So that takes us to Streep and Zeta-Jones. Let's start with Streep, in which I'll talk about why she had her best chance at winning since her Sophie's Choice victory in 1983. As the real-life Susan Orlean, the author whose story is spun into all sorts of surreal and creative directions in Charlie Kaufman's ingenious screenplay Adaptation, Streep showed on screen for the first time in a long while a vivaciousness and a playfulness that could not go ignored.
No. I'm trying to make a dial tone, and you have to sustain, and then I will join you, and together. See, I can't do it by myself.
For the second half of the 1990s, she had taken herself really seriously in one performance after another, like Before and After, One True Thing, and Music of the Heart. Even The Hours gives us another very dramatic Streep performance. So it was breathtaking to see her be more funny, more relaxed, more modern, more sexual in Adaptation, especially alongside Chris Cooper giving what might be his career best performance as the eccentric John LaRoche. Kaufman's amazing script and Spike Jonze' inspired direction allowed Streep to not give in to familiar impulses and instead give us something wholly unique from beginning to end. Critics agreed. Adaptation appearing on many top 10 lists of 2002, and Streep, so often a loser at that point for every award she was nominated for, seemed more shocked than anyone else when she won Best Supporting Actress at the 2003 Golden Globe Awards.
Oh, God. Oh, I didn't have anything prepared because it's been like since the Pleistocene era that I won anything.
I think a lot of people at that time recognized just how much they had taken Streep for granted, nominating her for things left and right, but never actually giving her the prize. Part of the problem was that her performance in Sophie's Choice was so iconic, so legendary, that it probably seemed to some as inappropriate to award Streep for a lesser performance. But her turn in Adaptation is anything but, and there was a lot of attention for the film at the Oscars, Nicolas Cage being nominated for Best Actor, and Chris Cooper winning the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. I think without Zeta-Jones in the way, this very well could have been Streep's third Oscar win. But alas, Zeta-Jones was in the way for one of the most spellbinding performances of 2002. And once the ball ended up in her court soon after the Golden Globes, there was really no turning back. As the devious and clever Velma Kelly, a showgirl arrested for the murders of her husband and sister after she discovers them in bed together, Zeta-Jones got a chance to show in the movie Chicago everything she was capable of as a performer, acting, singing, and dancing to a T.
Yeah, and I was thinking, with all the publicity that's piled up between us and when Billy gets us off, well, we'd be a natural to do an act together.
You think so, huh?
This was the role of her career, and she had to have known it, because she gives it everything she's got. She's funny and commanding and sexy, a true star-making performance in a film if there ever was one. So how did Zeta-Jones ultimately defeat Meryl Streep and the others for Best Supporting Actress? Here are the top 3 reasons. First, and most importantly, Zeta-Jones won every major precursor award except for the Golden Globe. And the reason she didn't win the Globe? It's not because she lost to Streep in the Supporting Actress category, it's because at the Globe she was nominated in the Leading Actress category next to Renee Zellweger, who took the prize. It was clear from the beginning that Zellweger had her stamp on the Leading Actress category, and if Zeta-Jones wanted to win some things, she simply had to go supporting. It was the right choice, as it turned out, since after the Globes, Zeta-Jones won at Critics' Choice, SAG, and BAFTA for Best Supporting Actress. I do think if she had lost to Streep at any one of those 3 ceremonies, we could have had more of a nail-biter the way that Best Actress at the Oscars that year was such a nail-biter. But Streep wasn't even nominated for Supporting Actress at SAG, shockingly enough, Michelle Pfeiffer taking her place there for her role in White Oleander, a 2002 drama that also starred Zellweger. Streep did get in at BAFTA, but by then her chances had significantly dwindled, and the star of the season in the Supporting Actress category was decided to be Zeta-Jones.
I want to ask you about this. When you won the Oscar, this was 2003.
The record of carrying the biggest jugs to the Oscar. I was 10 days before I gave birth to our daughter, Karis.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was a special night.
The second reason Zeta-Jones won was that Chicago was the most beloved film throughout that award season, scoring the SAG Ensemble Prize, the PGA Award, the DGA Award for Rob Marshall. Although there was a last-minute surge for The Pianist, which surprised in both Best Actor and Best Director at the Oscars, Chicago still took Best Picture, and when a film wins the main prize, any actors nominated from that film always have a better shot at victory. Chicago was, alas, a Miramax movie, with Harvey Weinstein working his magic behind the scenes to get his chosen awards darling Chicago the most Oscars he could muster. Although it didn't work out for Zellweger, the love for Chicago absolutely helped score Zeta-Jones her supporting actress win.
I'm just being honest here. Miramax stopped at nothing to make sure Chicago was nominated. Now, here's what they did, and you tell me if you think this is fair. They made a really good movie that everybody likes.
One additional reason Zeta-Jones managed a victory was that, although she hadn't been Oscar nominated for any of her previous performances, there was a lot of love for what she did in Steven Soderbergh's ensemble drama Traffic, which earned her a Golden Globe nomination 2 years prior in the supporting actress category. I would argue that in early 2003, Zeta-Jones was at the height of her film career, critics and audiences, and awards voters recognizing her brilliant turn in Chicago at just the right time. She would go on to do good work in films like Intolerable Cruelty and The Terminal, but this is still her only Oscar nomination to date. Her one spectacular film performance, and thus her win that year, from an historical perspective, makes sense. Bates already has her Oscar, Moore would go on to win in 2015 for Still Alice, and Streep would finally win her third Academy Award nearly a decade later for The Iron Lady, beating out Viola Davis in yet another nail-biter. But more on that race, and lots more content about the one, the only Meryl Streep in the months to come. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And let me know in the comments below who you think should have won Best Supporting Actress in 2003. Should Streep have taken the prize for Adaptation? Or was Zeta-Jones the right choice for Chicago? See you next time!